Hey, what's going on, guys? Ever seen here? So I've been playing PoE2 for about 2 days now, and I just want to kind of show you my day 1-2 progression on Titan. It's been very slow and painful, to be honest, but I got to level 47 so far. I just hit Cruel on my Titan. And I'm just going to go over like passive tree and skills and kind of like how I progressed and how I think you could do better. So the first thing I should talk about is let's go into the skills menu. So a lot of people have been using Mace Strike into Bone Shatter for clear. I think this is really good. I used Bone Shatter a lot in the beginning, but I was using like Rolling Slam with Bone Shatter instead. Like I would just hit like a stun. They'd be primed for stun, and then Bone Shatter would clear them out. As soon as you can get Herald of Ash, you want to put this in immediately because it just gives us more damage. It also gives us like overkill damage. Infernal Cry as well you're going to want to use because you obviously get empowered to get more damage. I've been using this new Raging Cry one. It's like a level 2 support, so I get Rage anytime I War Cry. What are some other skills here? So like Mace Strike, I think I had like more stun on it. And then for Bone Shatter, I had Bleed and something else on it. But pretty much like I've just been using basic support gems. Like I was using a Rolling Slam. Rolling Slam carried me like for the whole time I was progressing, but I don't really think it was that optimal or good. I was using Rage support on it because it just like felt good to get Rage. Like every time you do a Rolling Slam, it counts as 2 hits, so you're getting like 6 Rage every time you do a Rolling Slam. So that's why I was doing that. I kind of didn't really do a shield setup. I just basically went for two-hander and just stayed two-hander. I got a shield in my back, but I've never used it really. One thing that I switched into when I was struggling was to do Shockwave Totem. So Shockwave Totem is actually really good as kind of a primer for your other skills. So like this one I have Ruthless on it, so every time a Shockwave Totem hits for the 5th time, it gives a lot of stun buildup. And then I've also got this, so I can do 2 totems. It's basically second wind from PoE1, if you ever played. And then this one is Jagged Ground. So Jagged Ground works really good on like crowd controlling enemies from like pushing you and stuff. So I normally like engage a fight with a couple Jagged Grounds, and then like all the enemies will attack the totems as well. And then I'll just like hit them with a big Sunder and it'll clear like the whole pack. So another thing too I've been using a lot is Leap Slam. So early on, the kind of like thing that I was looking to do and play with was like +3 to level of all melee skill gems, was like a mace that I had, which brought Armor Breaker up quite far. So you actually broke quite a bit of armor. Now it doesn't really work that great, but yeah, you kind of want to like invest into this maybe if you want to go that route. But it is nice to use Armor Breaker. I was using 25% more attack speed just to hit faster. And then I was doing Rage on this as well. So basically what I was doing is I was just armor breaking like 5, 6, 7 times till I had like a decent amount of rage up, the armor was broken, then I would Leap Slam, and then you cause the 500% more stun build up, and then pretty much rinse and repeat until you get a heavy stun going. And then you're doing like Rolling Slam with Infernal Cry, or you're doing like Sunder with Infernal Cry. Just anything to like get more damage when your guy is like when the boss is stunned. Another thing that really helped was I was doing Sunder, but like I was using Lacerate on Sunder. Yeah, I still have it on there actually, so 30% chance to inflict bleeding. And whenever they were bleeding, I had Bloodlust support on Rolling Slam. I actually don't know where it is now, but I'll just show it. Bloodlust, maybe here somewhere. Yeah, so supported skills deal 30% more melee physical damage against bleeding enemies. So what would happen is I would prime them with a bleed on Sunder, and then I would just Rolling Slam the hell out of them. And it seemed to work pretty good because you're getting that more damage multiplier. The biggest transition, though, that I made for my build personally was I started using Volcanic Fissure. So if you don't know, Volcanic Fissure just slams the ground, and it does like a little bit of a line, like an aftershock thing. I'll just show you guys kind of an example. I'll put one in of me playing. basically what it does is it puts a line of fire on the ground, and the fissure lasts for 12 seconds. So you can actually get like 3, 4, maybe 5 of these out before they start to expire. So anytime you slam on top of this, it actually will do damage like based on each line. So I put on like more fire damage, more elemental damage, and then this is what actually gives me rage. So another big thing too is I found a jewel that has rage on hit. So I've been using that, and that really helps me to keep all my rage. I'm doing 1 rage on melee hit here, and then I have all these nodes to like expire rage slower. I probably should have gone this way into beef and then got all this rage on hit instead, because it's just when you need the rage on the bosses, you're not really worried about it expiring. And on clear, like, it's whatever, it's pretty trivial. You just always have it because of you know, your pacing. But yeah, so rage, you really want to like pile into rage on Titan. It makes it significantly easier. You get so much more attack damage. But yeah, Volcanic Fissure, like, I was hitting bosses for like ridiculous numbers, like just Volcanic Fissuring like 5 or 6 times, building up a bunch of rage stacks, and then I was just Infernal Cry and Rolling Slam on them. And then another thing too is I spec'd into a lot of Aftershock stuff. So Aftershock here, so I've got 8, 10%, so that means I get 18% there. And then I also have on my jewel, on Rolling Slam, I think it's now on Supercharged Slam, because this one works just better. It has way more damage. But like, I was using Rolling Slam with Conk Effect and also Aftershock. So that means I had 38% chance to cause an Aftershock. So when you're doing Rolling Slam and you get 2 hits, you have like 2 chances to get an Aftershock. And an Aftershock is basically just double damage. So you want as many Aftershocks as you can. Another thing I did too is like I took Crushing Blows as my first Ascendancy. And I was going to grab Surprising Strength, but I've decided to actually go for the Aftershocks instead, because now I have like 58% chance to do an Aftershock. And on something like Supercharged Slam, that's giving me like actually a lot of damage because it hits so many times. So the idea for me is like I basically want to prime up the boss with a heavy stun, and then you want to do Infernal Cry or something like that and do up a Supercharged Slam. And then it will do a ridiculous amount of damage. Usually I'm just doing Volcanic Fissure around the boss, kind of like going around the boss, hitting, and then I use a Supercharged Slam, and this usually builds up stun like a lot as well. So they nerfed it, but it is still good. I would definitely use it. But yeah, Sunder has Fist of War and Bleeding on it. Fist of War, if you don't know, it just makes your damage or your attack have more damage when you like attack every 6 seconds. So for 1 hit every 6 seconds, you'll get a bigger slam. So, and then Bleed, just because Bleed is really good. Brutality, I honestly don't know if I want to use this because it's stopping me from doing elemental damage. So yeah, maybe don't do Brutality. Yeah, pretty much everything else is simple though. Like, I'm not really using anything in my auras. I was using Vitality in Herald of Ash, but to get Spirit for Time of Need, which is like a newer skill, like once you get into Cruel, I decided I probably want this because it gives, you know, it removes curses and elemental ailments, so it's really good to have, like, say if you got frozen or something. But yeah, the whole, like, rotation for me is pretty much just, like, do Shockwave Totems, do Sunder, or do, like, Infernal Cry into Supercharged Slam. Armor Breaker is kind of, like, on the back burner for now, but I do plan to use this a lot with Leap Slam. Another thing, too, is I also use Leap Slam with more stun build-up, which is just nice. But I also did Consecrated Ground for 4 seconds. This is really good for life regeneration. My life regeneration goes from like 10 to 90 or 80 or whatever. So if you do this on a boss and you stand around the boss, it's actually not that bad because you got lots of life regen. But yeah, that's about it. Another thing too you want to use is Daze. This is like really good. I plan to like use this later, more so. But yeah, when you break the armor of your enemy, you'll apply Daze, which Daze lasts for 8 seconds, which is actually a lot of time. And a dazed enemy will take 50% more stun buildup. So this is just going to mean that you can chain stun a lot easier. So I'm really looking forward to using this. I mean, it says it lasts for 6 seconds, but it says it lasts for 8 seconds here, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But yeah, that's about it for my build right now, guys. Just progressing. I'm going into Cruel now. I, you know, get my second Ascendancy. I get a ridiculous weapon here, just like Fizz, and then attack speed. I got a couple Fizz runes in it just to like really juice it up. And then yeah, my gear is pretty mediocre right now. Like realistically, like this is giving me energy shield on my boots. Like that's kind of garbage. I ideally want armor on all my pieces. Right now my chest is like decent, but it could use like some exalts or something. You know, look at my amulet, it's literally dog shit. So there's pretty much only improvements from here. I just got this ring though that was really nice. Fire res life and leech fizz damage is life. Another thing too that you might want to do is like when I do actually get when I get another gem socket for supercharge slam, I plan to actually put leech into this because there's a gem that gives you leech, which is really good. Yeah, it's leech 6% of physical attack damage from supported skills is life, so this helps a lot. Whenever you're progressing, like mix and match your charms. Whatever you're like fighting, just do like if it freezes, use this when you become frozen. You know, if it poisons, do that kind of thing. And yeah, that's about it. But I'm gonna progress through the rest of Cruel and try and complete the game here in the next couple days, get into maps, and continue from there. Anyways, I'll chat later. Peace, guys. Another thing I should talk about is the way I kind of followed with my skill tree. So to start, I took all the melee damage nodes, obviously, and then I went up here for melee damage, and then I grabbed, you know, more armor, and then I went over here for armor and life regen. I did go up here and grab stun threshold and 20% increased life regeneration rate while moving. I respect those because I don't think they're really relevant. But I basically erased all the way over here to get all these two-handed damage nodes. I could grab this one too for increased area of effect, but I just don't really care about AoE if it doesn't give me damage. So yeah, I went for this. And then I went into Rage next so that I could start, you know, gaining Rage when I had Rage support on one of my skills. And then I went immediately over here and grabbed Resolute Technique so that we're never really missing. We're always hitting. It really sucks for Sunder. I'd actually like to do kind of accuracy-based, but we're so far from any accuracy nodes, so I just left it for now. And then I went into all this melee damage and stun build-up, and then also immobilized enemies. So whenever an enemy is stunned, they're considered immobilized. So that's 40%, 90% increased damage. So obviously we want those nodes if we're doing a stun build. Went over here, put a jewel in, melee damage, stun threshold. I actually need to regal this. So, and then I went into all this stun build-up stuff. And then break 50% armor on heavy stunning an enemy. So this works really nice, especially for clear too, because things will just get broken armor all the time. And then recover 20% of life when you heavy stun a rare or unique enemy has been working out really good for me. Then I went down here and I wanted all this mace stuff, so I get damage with maces. Obviously the aftershock stuff we talked about. Damage with maces, some stun buildup, and then 20% more damage against heavy stun enemies with maces. This is a really big damage multiplier node, so I wanted that 100%. Then I've also got a little bit of armor, life regen, and then fizz damage prevented recouped as life, so just, you know, more recovery is good. I probably will go over here and grab this and then this once I get a decent couple pieces of gear with strength requirement. This is like probably 200 armor, flat armor when you grab that node. I'll probably go over here and grab more stun buildup, as well as stun threshold and strength. For now, though, I think I'm leaving that, and I might go path through here. So I did stun threshold and 30% increased elemental ailment threshold. So I did, when I did the quest for the vials, I took the elemental ailment threshold one because if you look, there's really no sources of this at all. Like, this is the only one. Let me just put threshold. Yeah, so there's literally one node on the entire tree that gives it. So it's just avoiding elemental ailments, so it's kind of nice. When you have 60% increased, it's obviously better. So I took that, and then I'm planning to take this path through here, grab the stun threshold stuff, grab this jewel socket, and then go stun build up, and then gain an endurance charge when you heavy stun a rare or unique enemy. This is going to work really well because we're going to consume endurance charges with Infernal Cry so that we can get more empowered attacks. So, Infernal Cry, it says, where does it say it? Powers the next melee attack you perform, plus an additional attack per endurance charge consumed. So that's really good. And then after we grab this sort of like cranial impact node, I'll probably go here and grab this. Yeah, 2%, 4%, and 5. Wait, is that 2%, 4%, and 7%? Okay, they changed it. I think it wasn't that much, but 7% of life for each endurance charge consumed. This is going to be really good for sustain. I could actually like keep endurance charges and then just hit my war cry for like an instant life flask, which is really good for bossing and stuff. So that's kind of what my plan is, and I'm right here, so might as well. But yeah, going cranial impact. I decided doing the heavy stun for Cull. It really doesn't matter. It's only 5% Cull an enemy, and like priming a stun at the same time, it just doesn't seem like it actually matters at all. So yeah, I probably will still keep trying to go for this, the stun buildup, and then damage with hits is lucky against heavy stun enemies, because I do think that your damage being lucky is going to be a huge boost, because for those who don't know, luck in the game is based on, the game basically says you hit once and twice, and the higher value wins. So my mace, for example, has a lot of wiggle room, like it has 115 to 221. So say if one hit hits 120 and one hit hits 180, it'll take the 180, and that will just be way better, especially for things like supercharged slam. I think the lucky hits is going to be kind of crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much my plan so far in the near future, but we'll see how it plays out when I get there. Yep, see you guys.